All right, calling this meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board number 4 September meeting. Today is September 17th, 2025. The time now is 6:30 p.m. First thing we'll have is if I can ask our neighborhood assistant Curtis to call the roll and confirm quorum, please.
Yes. Abe, Aguilera,
Here.
Harness, Gardner, absent. Hara, Ho, absent. Kagel, Logue, Mandrick, Otoza, and King.
Here.
Sure, you have quorum with 9 members.
Okay, terrific. Thank you very much. So our first report is with the Honolulu Fire Department.
Evening, everyone. I'm Firefighter 1 Cole Graham. I just have the statistics and fire safety tip for the month. We had 1 structure fire, 2 nuisance fires, 50 medicals, and 4 motor vehicle collisions. Our fire safety tip for the month is lithium-ion batteries in your home. This year, the NFPA, or National Fire Protection Association's Fire Prevention Week campaign works to educate everyone about using these batteries safely. Lithium-ion batteries store a lot of energy in a small place. These batteries can overheat, start a fire, or explode if overcharged or damaged. By learning how to buy, charge, and recycle these batteries safely, you can help prevent the fire in your home. Buy only listed products. When buying a product that uses a lithium-ion battery, look for a safety certification mark such as UL, ETL, or CSA. This means it meets important safety standards. Charge devices safely. Always use the cords that came with the product to charge. Follow the instructions from the manufacturer. Buy new chargers from the manufacturer or one that the manufacturer has approved. Charge your device on a hard surface and don't overcharge it. Unplug it or remove the battery when it's fully charged. Recycle batteries responsibly. Don't throw lithium-ion batteries in the trash or regular recycling bins because they could start a fire. Recycle your device or battery at a safe battery recycling location. Visit calltorecycle.org to find a recycling spot near you. And finally, HFD is hosting a Fire Prevention Family Day on October 4th at the Honolulu Zoo from 10 to 2. You're welcome to bring your families to participate in activities and meet our fire and life safety partners. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department for the board? Okay, any questions from the public? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
About juries, wildlife.
I do not. That is something I'm not going to do.
Okay, any further questions for the Honolulu Fire Department? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for coming out. Appreciate it. All right, so we are going to move on to the monthly report from the Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Lieutenant Thompson from District 7. Monthly stats from August, we had 9 motor vehicle thefts, with 9 reported the previous month. 7 burglaries, where 13 was reported the previous month. 16 thefts, with 20 reported the previous month. 6 unauthorized entry into motor vehicle cases, with 12 the previous month. Total cost for the service for the month of August is $5,882. Just a safety tip for the month to go along the lines of the Chiefs Drive Aloha campaign. It's 25 safety tips from NHTSA, National Highway Transportation and Safety Administration. Number 1 is buckle up every trip, every time. 2, ensure children are in the right car seat. Make sure that they're the right seat for their height, weight, and age. Number 3 is drive sober. 4, pay attention to the road. 5, obey speed limits. 6, never drive drowsy. 7, share the road responsibly. 8, pay attention to flashing lights. 9, talk to teen drivers. And 10, check for recalls to make sure your car is running safe, in a safe order. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, Lieutenant. Any questions for the Honolulu Police Department from the board? Any questions from the public? Eric?
Hi, sorry, same question if you didn't hear it. Do you have any information on critical injuries with motor vehicle accidents on the corners of 11th and Waialae or 10th and Waialae in the last 48 to 3 days?
So there was I believe a critical overnight a couple nights ago, on 10th and Waialae.
You know the condition of the people involved?
I don't have an updated condition. I know that the passenger went to the hospital in critical condition in that accident.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for the Honolulu Police Department? All right, seeing none, thank you very much, Lieutenant. Thanks for the
Thank you.
report. Okay, so we're going to move on to community reports from the Board of Water Supply. Lorna.
Hi, good evening. Can you folks hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I have a quick announcement like normal. I just have one main break to report for last month. That was on August 12th on 20th Avenue. The announcement I have this month is about Imagine a Day Without Water event. So we encourage you to bring your entire ohana for this year's annual Imagine a Day Without Water. It's a free family-friendly event on this Saturday, September 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Windward Mall's Center Court. So during the event, you're going to learn about the One Water concept and why water is essential to every part of life. You get to explore interactive displays from over 20 city, state, and community organizations, as well as enjoying hands-on activities, prize giveaways, including a 45-gallon rain barrel, and much more. If you want more information, visit our website at www.boardofwatersupply.com/One Water Hawaii. That is my announcement this month. Does anybody have any questions?
All right, thanks, Lorna. Any questions for the Board of Water Supply from the board? From the public?
Lori Yamada.
Laurie Yamada,
Hello.
go ahead.
Lorna, I haven't heard that if we're having a drought or not. I heard there was one in Maui. So are we facing one here too?
So we don't have that out at this moment. They haven't told us anything. So I would say it's okay because if there was, I would be reporting it right now.
So you think it's still prudent for us to water, you
Yes.
know?
Yes, definitely. I always, even though we're not in a drought, we always encourage conservation wherever you can. Just, whatever water you can save helps the future generations. So always encourage that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for the Board of Water Supply? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much, Lorna. Thanks for the
Thank you.
report.
Have a good evening.
You too, thank you. So I'll just note for the video record that Becky Gardner is online. I believe she joined during the Honolulu Fire Department report. Okay, so we're going to move on to presentations. First presentation this evening is on the effects of pesticide use in Hawaii. Is Ella Alexander or Yvonne Yoro on?
Hi, good evening. My name is Olivia Eagle. I'm presenting on behalf of our office with Representative Peruso and also Climate Future Forum. Let me share my screen for you folks. Okay. Can you hear everything okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yes, so as I said, my name is Olivia Eagle, and I'm here to talk to you folks today about pesticides in Hawaii and how they affect your neighborhood and also ways to help protect human and environmental health in our community. So to start off with some basics, pesticides are substances that are designed to kill or deter pests. This can include insects, weeds, fungi, and rodents. These can be chemical, synthetic, and or biological, and there's a difference between general use restricted pesticides, which I'll refer to as GUPs, and restricted use pesticides, which I'll refer to as RUPs. And today our main focus will be RUPs. So what are RUPs? RUPs are different than GUPs because they require a certification or a license for the purchase and use. And GUPs can be bought or sold over the counter. An example of this would be Roundup. And RUPs are restricted due to the fact that they cause severe significant environmental and health impacts. And they're most commonly sprayed in north central Oahu as well as West Kauai. And in 2018, the Hawaii State Legislature announced Act 45, which stated that starting in 2019, RUP use must be reported to the Hawaii Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity. And this act also implemented 100-foot buffer zones around schools. So some examples of pesticides is 1,3-D and metamsodium. In 2019, over 175,000 pounds of 1,3-D was sprayed. This is a groundwater contaminant and a carcinogen, which means that it can lead to long-term health impacts such as cancer. It is toxic if inhaled, and it could cause respiratory impacts, dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. And we also have metamsodium, and in 2019, 30,000 pounds were sprayed. This is highly prone to drift. It can drift up to a mile, and it is also toxic if inhaled. It can cause weakness, blurred vision, cramps, pupil constriction, sweating, lowering the pulse, and muscle tremors. So here we have some exemptions to Act 45. Neonicotinoids are not currently classified as a restricted use pesticide, so they're not subject to reporting. Neonicotinoids are currently used in Hawaii to fight off the coconut rhinoceros beetle, which is an invasive species we have here in Hawaii. It is toxic to native birds, pollinators, and other aquatic species. It is systemic, which means that it's injected into the root or seed of the plant instead of just being sprayed on a specific part of the plant, which makes the whole plant toxic, and most of this is lost in the soil. We also have experimental field trials, which is where major chemical companies such as Bayer, also known as Monsanto, and Syngenta test GMO crops on Hawaiian lands, which could have adverse consequences on our agricultural resources, and these may be exempt from reporting. HAPA, the Hawaii Alliance on Progressive Action, has been looking in data for applicators since 2019, and they've been able to see where these pesticides are being sprayed and how much and who's spraying them. So that's where most of our research is coming from, is their data. But overall, it's just easier for these folks to spray larger amounts and ignore the rules. So as we can see, Act 45 is a good start, but it is insufficient to our needs. The current buffer zones are only 100 feet around schools, but as stated earlier, metamsodium does travel up to a mile. This also doesn't properly address the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, which requires applicators to follow rules on the label. But since there is little oversight on reporting, it makes it very easy for these guys to cut corners. An example of this is in the form, which we'll look at later, is that you can only spray, or you don't have to put the time which you sprayed at. So you can say that you sprayed at a specific time, but it's just not very accurate. And then this also nullifies the school buffer zones because applicators are only acquired to apply during school hours. And there's also no mandated environmental testing, so applicators can ruin the land and sell it on to the next person. So overall, there's just no accountability and a lack of clarity here. This is a form and a couple graphs we have for you folks. So at the top, this is the annual use restricted pesticide reporting form. So this is what the applicators have to fill out annually. In the green boxes, this is what they are required to fill out. So the active ingredient, the total used, and area treated, and also, yes, the date applied. But in the white boxes is stuff that they do not have to fill out. So this is the pest that they were trying to kill or the time at which they applied. On the lower left, we have a map of Oahu. The highly concentrated areas are the red areas right here, and then it levels out to lower concentrated. And then on the right, we have a map of your guys' neighborhood. So as we can see, there is no pesticide spraying that was reported in 2019, but it's still good to point out. And then here we also have a map of your folks' school zones. So the black dots are going to be the actual school itself, and then the yellow circle around it is going to be that buffer zone. So overall, this is also just good to point out so we can see what these buffer zones look like. So some current ideas floating around in our office right now is to establish better reporting systems to enhance more detailed and accurate reporting. Also increase buffer zones in size and frequency, hopefully up to a quarter mile or half a mile at least, since medium sodium can travel up to a mile. And also including community facilities in these buffer zones, such as libraries, hospitals, and other community facilities. Having larger fines or punishments for illegal use of RUPs, classifying neonics as an RUP, and just having better transparency in labeling. It may be misleading when something says Hawaii grown. It may lead people to believe that it's organic when it's not. So how you can help consider adopting resolutions. Our office has drafted a resolution, which I believe we're looking at later. Share your experience and testify, hold community meetings, sign up for emails to stay alert, contact your elected officials, educate about pesticide use in schools, and stand with farmers to help them transition into more organic practices. Here's an organization that we wanted to share. Rewild Your Campus is an organization that's dedicated to removing synthetic pesticides from school campuses. They have pilot programs, outreach, and collaboration, and they overall just work with schools and communities to reduce pesticide use, and they also educate about the harmful impacts of pesticides, and they also focus on organic land care, biodiversity, and health. And here's a QR code, and it will take you folks to their website to learn more about which meetings they're doing. And then we also just wanted to share some quick links. So here's the HOPA website, which will take you to their website, some Canva resources we've made, and also the map series that we were looking at earlier. This is an interactive map series, so you can go and look at where these pesticides are being sprayed, who's spraying them, and how much. So that is everything that we have for you folks today, but I'm able to answer any questions.
All right. Thanks very much, Olivia. Any questions for Olivia? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, maybe if I'd been part of the board longer, I'd know the answer to this question, but will we be able to see that PowerPoint in materials for the minutes of the meeting or something after the fact? I'd really like to see that PowerPoint.
So maybe if I can just jump in
Yeah.
real quick. So Olivia, if you don't mind forwarding that PowerPoint to me, and we can post it onto our Google Drive and have that available, if that works.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Was the PowerPoint not filming just now?
No. We have the PowerPoint. I think the question
Oh, it
though
was.
is,
Okay.
yeah, if someone wanted to kind of review it in more detail, if it would be available. So if you don't
Yes,
mind
of course.
emailing it to me. Okay. And I'll go ahead and post it on the Google Drive. Okay. Any other question, Calvin? Go ahead.
You mentioned Central Oahu has a higher use. Briefly, why is that? And where would other rural agricultural areas wouldn't have use to?
Yeah, so our research shows from HOPA that most of Central Oahu has more RUP use because of bigger farming corporations. We have like Syngenta is up there with a lot of restricted use pesticides that are spraying. And yeah, it's just more agricultural usage up there.
Okay. Any other questions for Olivia from Representative Peruso's office? right.
Brian, it's Becky.
Yeah, Becky, go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yep.
I don't know, my computer's acting funny, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can hear you.
But I was just curious about whether there has been any move to restrict pesticide use around the public parks at all. And one thing that concerns me in particular is the impact on pets and other animals. You know, we bring our dogs to parks to get exercise and roll around in the grass. Is that something that, is there any kind of movement on that? And I know this is a county issue, but I'm just wondering if there's any viability to a notion of restricting
Oh, it's
pesticide
in
use in
there.
parks. That's it.
Yeah, so we did learn that at the county level, Roundup, the specific chemical in that is glyphosate, and that is still being sprayed around county lands. But since it is a general use pesticide, it's not subject to reporting, so we can't really tell where exactly it's being sprayed. But we did look at a resolution which was passed, I believe, in 2021, which asked the county to look at alternatives for glyphosate. Um, and yeah, so that was passed. So I believe that that is still being taken into effect.
Right, so there's a resolution that was passed that the counties were supposed to look at, but we don't know if any action has been taken by the counties.
Yes, correct. And I can get back to you with exactly the resolution number. I just can't think of it at the top of my head right now.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks very much. All right, so we're going to have to move on. So thank you very much, Olivia. Appreciate it, and look forward to getting the presentation from you as well. Okay, so we are going to move on to our next presentation this evening, which is the State of Hawaii Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation Commission Draft Climate Action Pathways Report. Is Bill or Jonathan Lantz here or online? Hi there. Yeah.
Hello. Check. Okay. Right on. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Aloha, everyone. So yeah, my name is Jonathan Lantz. I am with the State Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation Commission, which is kind of a mouthful. So we also go by CCMAC, or just the Climate Commission. Yeah. And so I'm here to share that we recently completed a draft of our Climate Action Pathways report. And we're inviting everyone to check it out, provide feedback on it. Basically, this report is something that we've been working on for maybe about a year and a half, and gathered a lot of feedback from going through different public events and technical working groups with professionals and academics and researchers, and a lot of conversations with stakeholders that are working in environmental fields and energy efficiency fields and everything related to climate resilience. And yeah, so maybe first of all, for those that don't know, the State Climate Commission was started a few years back, basically as a response to the recognizing the growing impacts of climate change that we're seeing. And it is a consortium of a number of different public agencies. So we've got representatives from a lot of different public offices, different representatives. We have representatives from the 4 counties across the state. And so our commission kind of exists to coordinate everybody's actions around climate change and try to help create a bit of a roadmap there and getting everybody to sort of work together on common goals towards building resilience to climate change. And yeah, so the draft of the Climate Action Pathways is out. It's basically a 180 or so page report that is, meant to be sort of a roadmap to guide our actions towards addressing climate change. However, we have an executive summary, which is only 20 pages. So for those that's a little bit more digestible, we've got that. And then what we're really trying to share with folks is we have a pretty simple online platform that people can come and check out just really the meat of the report, which is basically there's 23 recommendations that we've come up with after, like I said, working with different stakeholders. So these recommendations kind of cover a broad spectrum across the industries. So everything from energy efficiency and electric vehicles and clean fuels, food security, forestry, water quality, building resilience, air transportation, marine transportation, ground transportation, workforce development around climate careers and green jobs. So basically trying to look at everything, the most important ways for communities to build resilience to what we predict are going to be the climate impacts in the coming decades. And yeah, so I dropped a link in the chat right before I stood up. Hopefully it went through. The link has our online platform where folks can go and check all this out, as well as my personal email if anybody has any questions or if anybody wants to talk story and share their ideas. But basically what we're hoping is that folks will take a look at this, share what you do like, what you don't like, if there's things that people think are missing that should be in the plan. This is really a chance. We want it to be a chance for the public to kind of help shape this plan. And also, you know, the things that we are proposing, how would you like to see these actions implemented in your communities? So we're really hoping for folks to kind of log in and speak up about, okay, you know, I like this or I don't like this, but you know, this is what we're seeing on the ground where we live. I know that, you know, we're all kind of seeing a lot of change happening, and sometimes it can be hard to have your voice heard and translated up the chain. But yeah, we're really hoping that this is a way that people can, like I say, help shape this plan. The open commentary period runs till September 30th. We've had it open since August 1st, so we've been really just trying to go to a bunch of different neighborhood boards and do a lot of public facing events to just kind of spread the word. We've been doing little talk story sessions in libraries across the state, and just trying to get the word out there however we can. I also left some flyers on the table here that has a QR code people can scan. I tried to actually drop it into the chat too, but it wouldn't go. So for those online, I think just clicking on that link to the website would be the easiest way. It's a really like simple, succinct description of what's in the report, as well as it has links to the full 180-page report and the executive summary, which is 20 pages. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for having us. And if anyone has any questions now or later, feel free to shoot me an email. But yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. You know, for those watching the recording, they may not be able to see the link, I believe. If it's not a mouthful, do you mind just mentioning what the link is?
Yeah. I believe it is HIClimate dot consider dot IT. So yeah, HIClimate dot consider dot it. Right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions for Jonathan and the Draft Climate Action Pathways Report? The board? All right. Anyone from the public? Okay, I don't see any. So thanks very much, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Thanks for the
Brian.
info.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out. All right, so we will move on to the consideration of a proposed resolution on pesticide use. And this is a resolution that's been proposed by Representative Peruso's office. It is available in the Google Drive. Curtis, is it possible to pull that up onto the screen? And we'll get it up on the screen. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to take a look at it. So let me just just very briefly summarize it. It does talk about the conservation protection of agricultural lands, federal law, Act 45 of 2018 requires annual reporting of RUP use. However, applicators are not required to disclose key data. It's characterized as a loophole here. And across Hawaii, just 10 users accounted for over 99% of all reported RUP use. There are other clauses there. It does resolve that the legislature prioritize comprehensive pesticide reform in the upcoming legislative session by requiring detailed pesticide use reports, and that the legislature expand buffer zones among schools as well as other areas, and that the state requires soil and water testing to assess pesticide-related environmental damage, and that the Hawaii Department of Agriculture, Department of Biosecurity, University of Hawaii conduct research on various organic solutions. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution? All right, James moved. Is there a second? Okay, thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the resolution? Yeah, go ahead, Cal.
Acronym FIFRA. I'm sorry. On 1, 2, 5. On the fifth whereas, FIFRA is an acronym. If it could be spelled out, I just checked on it. It's a federal insecticide, fungicide, and rodenticide act. So just so people know what that acronym is.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's my understanding as well, that does stand right. That does refer to that federal act.
Yes, sorry, yeah. So, yeah, Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act is, yeah, FIRFA.
Okay, thanks, Olivia. Appreciate it. Okay, any other discussion on the resolution? All right, seeing none, so we'll call for the vote. We can just do a voice vote. Yeah, okay. So all those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes and the resolution is adopted. Thank you. All right,
Great, thank you
so thanks, Olivia. Okay, so we're going to move on to the elected officials reports. First update from Mayor Rick Blangiari's representative. We have Director and Chief Information Officer Brian McKee. Brian, are you here or online?
I'm online, so I couldn't
Hi,
make
Brian.
it today. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay, I've got a new speaker. I'm trying out. All right, well, here's the report. On this month's highlights from the mayor's newsletter and from his adventures, the city honored Oahu's Purple Heart recipients during a ceremony at Honolulu Holly. I was honored to participate in that as well. It was a very respectful ceremony. We had a Medal of Honor winner that was there. We had many other veterans in attendance. The Royal Hawaiian Band helped out. It was really, really kind of cool. And if you're going down the main drag there in front of Honolulu Holly, there's now signage up there saying that we are a Purple Heart city, and that signage went up. It was pretty cool to participate. Wanted to tell everyone that Hart broke some ground on new guideways and rail stations that's going to be across the third segment of the rail project from Kalihi to Kaka'ako. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD's Region 9 Administrator, visited Honolulu Holly and discussed housing and homelessness with the mayor and his cabinet. It was a great meeting, and they came to a lot of common ground. Obviously, we have some trepidation concerning federal funding and whether that's going to continue in the coming administration. So, it was a good working meeting, and we're very hopeful that we'll continue to get the funds we need. New members of the Honolulu Youth Commission were sworn in during a ceremony at Honolulu Holly, and Oahu's junior lifeguards returned from the state championship event on Maui with a historic victory. So that was great. And then I also wanted to check in with you guys. I had some I had some things come up. I was in attendance at the meeting last time. Becky Gardner had asked about a permitting status for a vape shop at 3588 Wailea Avenue. I guess some new signage had gone up, if you guys remember. No? Wait,
Yes,
Hi,
I think
sorry.
that's
So,
yeah, Becky.
yeah, just to clarify, the question wasn't about the vape shop permit. I have a concern about the vape shop that's there, but my question was about the theater because there had been condemnation proceedings
Right.
over the last year or so about that, and I'm concerned about the vape shop there because there's so many establishments in the area that cater to kids.
Right.
And
Okay.
so, you know, I just had,
I get it. I get it. I
yeah,
did see them. So DPP took a look, and there are no outstanding building permits for vape shops in the area. So there isn't anything processed. I know you said that they had new signage, so it looked like they were counting on being kind of permanent there instead of temporary. So far nothing on the books. And then in terms of the city's acquisition of the Queens Theater, we've been told to refer that to the Department of Land Management. So we've got a call in, and we'll have more information hopefully as soon as we can. So I wanted to get back to you on those. Also, DTS, we requested, we had some concern coming from the group for a left turn signal on 16th Avenue. I know there have been several accidents there in the vicinity of Wailea Avenue and 16th, and there can be a long line of cars building up on 16th. So DTS is in the process of conducting an investigation to see if we can put a left turn there. And we'll appraise you guys when the findings come out, probably at the end of March 2026. It's a long way to wait. I'm sorry, but that's what they told us. And then we also had something that I'd like to get back to you guys on. There was speeding concerns on Moanalua Avenue. Audrey Abe said residents are concerned about speeding on the downhill slope from 12th Avenue to 9th Avenue on Moana Loa Avenue, and could HPD conduct speed enforcement on that roadway? So DTS is considering installing speed limit signs and stop signs there. HPD did from August 27th to September 7th conduct a speed limit enforcement on that avenue. And during the checks, officers observed nothing out of the ordinary. They encourage public to immediately call 911 when they see violations and they observe, excessive speed. And then DTS is also looking at the speeding concerns from 12th Avenue to 9th Avenue, and will assess the situation pending a study. So I think those were the three things I wanted to report back to you guys on.
All right. Thanks very much, Brian. Any questions from the board for the mayor's representative, Brian? Yeah, go ahead, Audrey.
Thank you, Brian, for following up on the speeding signs, 25 limit speeding signs that are not available from 12th Avenue, Mauna Loa, down to almost 9th Avenue, Mauna Loa. I just really am shocked that they thought it was normal, because almost any time of the day, people are just racing down that hill. So I hope they do a thorough study. But thank you for following up on that.
Sure, my pleasure.
Okay, any other questions for the mayor's representative from the board or the public? All right, not seeing anyone. Thank you very much, Brian. Thanks for the reports and updates.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
All right, so we're going to move on to City Council Chair Tommy Waters' office. Anyone available? Hello.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening, Chair and members. I'm Tasha Luke from Chair Waters' office. I just have a few updates tonight. Bills 49 and 50 passed third and final reading at the September council meeting. These bills introduced by Chair Waters and Budget Chair Val Okimoto provide real property tax relief by increasing the home exemption to $140,000 and the kupuna exemption to $180,000 starting in 2027. Both bills raise the home exemption by $20,000 for homeowners under 65 and those 65 and older. This translates to hundreds of dollars in property tax savings each year. Construction is underway on the 11th Avenue Drainage Improvement Project. The Department of Design and Construction expects it to be completed by the end of this month. And lastly, the non-operational lights at Capilano Community Park have been an ongoing safety concern. DDC says the project to fix those lights is currently in its planning and design phase. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions or concerns back to Chair Waters.
All right. Thanks very much, Tasha. Any questions or concerns for Chair Waters' office from the board? Okay, or from the public?
I just have a
Yep.
question. Sorry if I missed it. Oh, hello. On the Capilano Park lights, could you explain what lights those are?
We've been getting several complaints from the public that the lights were not working within the park. Not exactly too sure on the details, but DDC says they are working to fix those lights.
Yeah, Sean, go ahead.
The lights you're talking about are by the baseball field. They're high pole lights. A lot of other parks have them. Manoa has them. There's a button on the side. You can push it. Like if you're in Manoa, for example, and you have a baseball game at night, it'll light up. The lights at Kapa'olona Park do not work. And so they're probably like 40 feet tall, towers with lights on them.
I live right across the park, so it hasn't worked in years.
No.
The baseball lights. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. What lights? Thank you for clearing that up.
Okay, any other questions? Tasha, if you don't mind, I do have one question. Maybe next month, if we can get an update on the negotiations or condemnation proceedings with respect to Queen Theater. I don't want to duplicate any efforts that Brian McKee is doing with Department of Land Management as well. So maybe that can be coordinated with them, just to get an update of where we're at, with respect to those discussions with the owner of Queen Theater. That'd be helpful for next month.
Okay.
Thanks
Yeah,
very much.
sure.
Appreciate it. All right. Okay, so thanks very much, Tasha. Thanks for the report.
Thank
We will
you.
move on to Governor Josh Green's representative. Is Amanda Stevens here or online?
Aloha, this is Amanda.
Hi. Hello. Welcome.
Hi. I wanted to address, first of all, a question that came up about 2 months ago with regards to the name change for the Capitol Modern, as it was the Hawaii State Art Museum. So if you will allow me, at the end of September 2023, the Hawaii State Art Museum was reintroduced to the public with a new website, a new look, and a new name. The name Capitol Modern better reflects not only the historic location at number 1 Capitol District building, but it also is the vibrant contemporary art experience that people have come to love over more than 2 decades. The name change came because community members over the decades have said that they had a hard time differentiating between the other art venues and the similar names in the similar areas. The name change was part of a strategic plan to strengthen the museum's brand and included working groups of curators, art educators, and community art leaders. It also reflects the broader concept that art is not just physical art, but fashion, food, dance, and music, and is accessible to all. And this came directly from the State Foundation on Culture and Arts Commissioner. If you have any questions on that, I can take it back.
Any questions? Nope, I don't think so. Thanks very much for
Sure.
providing that info.
Thank you, Chair. And then 2 more things. Anyone who's going to be graduating with their bachelor's degree, there's early opportunities for state jobs, and some of these jobs include employment service specialist, emergency management, investigator, land agent, and so on and so forth. And I'll be sure to put the governor's newsletter in the chat because it has a lot of good information, including these job opportunities for those who are soon to graduate, but are encouraged to go ahead and apply. And lastly, like my colleague in the mayor's office, this Hawaii State Youth Commission had theirs, the commissioner sworn in August. And they're also partnering with Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke as she proclaimed September as Digital Aloha Month to promote safer, kinder online spaces. What's really special about this is Hawaii State Student Council, Hawaii State Department of Education, and Hawaii State Youth Commission, and the State Department on Health's Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division coming together to really spread the word about safe digital use. And that's all I have to present at this time, and I'm happy to take any questions back to Governor's office.
All right, thanks very much, Amanda. Any questions for the governor's office? Yeah, Cal.
On the minutes, we had a question regarding emergency sirens. If you could put that onto your list for next month.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, any other questions or comments for the governor's office? All right, seeing none. Thanks very much, Amanda. Thanks for the
Thank you.
updates. Okay, so we will move on to Senator Stanley Chang's office. Okay, we have a representative from Stanley Chang's office. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to Senator Leslie Hara sends his regrets. He's not able to make it this evening. We will move on to Representative Tina Grandinetti or her representative. Anyone online? Okay, not seeing a representative. We will move on to Representative Jackson Sayama, who I believe is online.
Yes, Chair. Hello, members of the board, members of the public. Not a whole lot going on at the Capitol right now, as you know, it's the interim. Like I've said last time, work on paid family leave legislation to the working group. To follow back on board member Gardner's question regarding Chair Todd's position on the matter, I did have an opportunity to speak with him, and yeah, he said he's supportive of the policy. He was actually a co-sponsor of the bill last session, so right, I think it's just a matter about the details, and he looks forward to seeing whatever legislation the working group can produce. And so, yeah, no commitments, but just generally supportive. I launched my email blast service in addition to my physical newsletters. Now, constituents should be able to receive a email newsletter, and so through that email service, I think the most brought up concern has been feral chickens. So I've been experimenting with ways to remove feral chickens. I tried using office funds, campaign funds to hire a private service from Staten Island that removes chickens, but it costs like $500 a month, $500 a week. And I'm not allowed to use it because it's out of my normal legislative responsibilities. So we're just trying to find different creative ways to work with neighbors and hopefully reduce the feral chicken population across the district. But if you guys have any ideas, I'm all ears. With that, yeah, I'm available for any questions, and yeah.
All right, thanks, Representative. Any questions for Representative Sayama this evening? From the board? From the public? All right, seeing none. Thank you very much, Representative. Thanks for coming out this evening.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so we'll move on to U.S. Congressman Ed Case's office. Is a representative from Congressman Case's office online? All right, seeing none. We will move on to community concerns from residents, and this is an opportunity for residents, not board members, to share comments and concerns that are not listed on the agenda. Per the Sunshine Law, concerns not on the agenda may be presented, but the board may not take any action at this meeting. Are there any community concerns to be brought up this evening? Yeah. Oh, hi, Pete. Yeah, we were just talking. Okay, Pete, yeah, why don't you, if you don't mind coming up and introducing yourself and your neighbor there. Pete, I'm sorry, can you come up to the microphone up there so they can hear you online? Thanks.
Well, hi, my name is Pete. I live off of Cocoa Head Ave, right off of the off-ramp of H1. This is my neighbor Scott, and we're here to address just the dangerous intersection that is there. Mr. Chair, I did send you a PDF. I don't know if you are able to display that at all. I apologize for it being last minute.
You upload it. If you upload it to the Google Drive, I'll upload it to the Google Drive.
But we live right off of the H1 off-ramp, and there are tons of accidents that happen there. My neighbor and I, it's off of the H1 off-ramp. My neighbor and I came years ago to address an issue with the guardrail when a car went off, and it was only, they never replaced the rail. There were just 2x4s, and then they had little traffic signs for all the pedestrians to avoid the walkway there. Finally did get fixed, but it took a few years. But recently there was another accident just during the day, and it was I think an innocent accident, but I live on the right side, my neighbor lives on the left. And yes, there's concern for our house, our vehicles. I have 3 children, they play in the driveway a bunch, but also for the immense amount of pedestrians. And I'm sure you guys are all very familiar during voting season. They all stand right out there waving to everyone coming off the off-ramp. So I put together a little presentation just to show some of the accidents that have occurred. And I do understand from our last meeting that we had, that we came to, it's probably not necessarily in this venue, but my neighbor and I don't feel that we have enough oomph to try to get something fixed. Ideally, there are some yellow poles coming off of the off-ramp that you can just bend over. Perhaps maybe I should have spoken right after the fire department and asked them maybe what their views were on the intersection and how dangerous it is. But ideally, we would be looking for some sort of support to get maybe some sort of water barriers in there, something to prevent cars from just coming straight off of the highway. The most recent one that happened just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think the individual might have fallen asleep. It was at 6:30 p.m. and he just plowed right into the pole, just missing my neighbor's driveway. So it's very dangerous. And again, yes, we do have concern for ourselves, but also the amount of pedestrians that are walking across this on a daily basis.
And also to add, years ago, my side of the house has been hit, but never caught the person. It just came out and the wall kind of caved in on the side of the garage. So basically, I mean, if you look at how the intersection is, the cars can go straight into the driveway. There's pictures of at least some of the accidents that we can recall on there. There's definitely been at least 2 or 3 more that we don't have, but they're all major. This last one over here, then the picture right there, the truck came straight over. I don't actually know the outcome of that. That was an interesting one. We heard a big crash, came out, truck's on there. Driver, he didn't seem, he may have been drunk, but he just seemed very determined to get his truck off. Got his truck off the pole by the time the police got there, and probably know he got away. We tried to correct him, let him go. HFD was out there, and I was kind of surprised. It didn't seem like HFD was basically face to face with the guy, and they didn't make any statements to the police or anything. I'm pretty sure that could have led to prosecution. But
the guy ended up lifting off his truck off of the pole and drove off before the police got there. He was definitely, I mean, that is the pole that you see sticking out there. He turned it all the way around, got the axle off, and just kind of like limped off and went away. And I do understand that while HFD is right up the street, that is not their job. This is definitely a police situation. And I do think something was probably wrong with this individual. When we called the police, they kept asking, did you get a license plate or anything like that? No one wanted to go near this person doing that. HFD didn't really go that close as well because he knocked down the pole and they were concerned about, there being live power as well. This one was on Instagram. I have a coworker that happened to see it, it was definitely newsworthy.
These are pictures of accidents. A lot of times just come out and full will be like that. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I guess whoever hit it just probably got to wait. It can happen in the middle of the night. Most of the other ones, I mean, we try to get get pictures. So we usually hear it or feel it on the phone.
And one question that we're always asked is, did you see it? No, but we hear the big boom and we go outside and, the police usually say that, well, they can't do anything if you didn't see it. Which I will say, there are cameras coming off of Cocoa Head Ave that traffic has. It's always on the news. So I don't know if those cameras can ever be used. This one was actually Christmas of 2019. I just put my kids to bed. Much older now, but they were pretty young then, and they got a skateboard. They both did, and they were skateboarding all around the driveway the whole day. COVID happened right after this. I did go to court to testify, but I don't think anything ever came of that due to just the elongated process. But he came off the highway, hit my mailbox, slammed into the pole. This was about 7:30 p.m. Again on Christmas.
I believe that the Alpha Power, right?
Yeah.
This is the one that he spoke about earlier. Car came right off, and it's probably hard to see on here, but it's actually hanging off of the overpass. It's probably about like half of the cars, or the rail stopped, and then it took a long time to get that. That's basically looking towards Mount off the
And that's the situation where we finally came to a board meeting about the railing, because it wasn't replaced for probably about at least a year and a half to 2 years. I mean, it was a while where there were just 2x4s up and just little, pedestrian caution signs. And again, this is a heavily trafficked road. You've got Christian school across the street. They do all their PE activities. They have track practice where they're running around. We've got the library close by. So it's definitely heavily traveled.
With the white reflecting on the right, that's one of my retaining walls that we are missed by kids that are would have come with. I think another driver came on with that light. I don't know how many. I mean, maybe there's public record on how many times that the light's been taken out. I mean, I don't know that. But I don't know where to find it.
Yeah, and you can definitely see in the photo those little yellow poles. They don't do anything. That was the last one.
All right. Well, thanks.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much for letting us hop in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for bringing it to our attention again, because I do recall you guys coming in, with respect to the guardrail a few years ago. Just by chance, just to let you know, I did receive an email today from the Department of Transportation, who has assigned someone, at least temporarily, to be a representative of DOT to our board. So if you don't mind, I will forward this presentation to him to hopefully have them come in for our next meeting, because as you know, we're not able to take any action this evening, but
Yes, sir.
we can have it on the agenda. Hopefully he can make it at the next. Okay,
Is the
Audrey, I'm
Cocoa,
sorry.
is Cocoa Head
Go ahead.
a city or a state highway, a road?
Yeah,
Because that's the state, you're talking about the state.
yeah, so I believe the DOT, the state is in charge of that, at least the lights. They've been talking about the lights and changing the intersection, and there's been some discussion on that from the DOT side. I'm not sure about Cocoa Head itself, though, so hopefully we can get some clarification on that.
I'm not sure as well, but I know the last board that we went to discuss this, that was one of the questions that came up. And I think just, as residences at our level, it's kind of something a lot higher than, I don't know who to talk to. So this is why we're trying to communicate these issues at this forum. I think this is probably the best place to start.
And at the last meeting, well, I'm not sure if the Tommy Waters representative is still present, but he did mention to us that perhaps if we gave him a little more information, maybe he could see if there's anything that's done, but I'm not sure if that's still all
Sure.
under his umbrella or not.
Okay, okay. Yeah, and I believe DOT was the one that was trying to repair the guardrail along Cocoa Head as well in the bridge there. So anyway, we'll forward it on to
And I will say they did
DOT
repair relatively quickly after we came to the board.
after you came to the board. This topic, are you still there?
Hi, Brian. Sorry, I don't
Oh, it's
know,
Becky.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
I know
Becky, why
Lori,
don't
I
you go
can
ahead?
see her moving, but everything else froze for a second. I don't know why. But I wanted to say to the gentleman living there at that exit, I remember when you guys came to the board meeting, maybe 4 years ago or something like that, and it was after that big accident, and so I remember getting off that exit and just seeing that it wasn't fixed. So I feel your frustration. I am wondering if a neighborhood board resolution would help, and if you wanted some help editing something, I can help you guys. You have like a lot of the facts in your presentation, and you saw a sample of a resolution earlier in this meeting. If you wanted to draft something like, just whereas paragraphs and just laying out, factually what happened sequentially is probably ideal. And then some of the results that you're asking for, I can edit it down and then introduce it for the board for its consideration. And I think the thrust of a resolution will hopefully get some attention. So I just wanted to offer that and make that suggestion. If you wanted to email me a draft, I can help get one prepared for introduction.
Sure. How can we contact you?
My email is on the neighborhood board website, the commission website, but I'll put it, well, I'll just tell you right now, Becky G for FOR, not number 4, Becky G for Kaimuki at Gmail. That's what I'm using for this neighborhood board.
Thank you very much, Becky. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
Good luck.
Becky. Lori Mata, go ahead.
Oh, hello. If I recall right, Brian, Kimura from State DOT, he used to be our rep that came quarterly to our meetings, and they're working on changing the lights off, going off the ramp to, to the change the lights to go left and right. And also when you turn left onto Cocoa Head, they're gonna do a left lane, a straight lane, and a right lane as you go Mocha. So he has a lot of history of what's been happening in that part of the area that you all live, which I really feel sorry for you guys. Yeah, every time I look at that, it's like, man. So yeah, if we can get them back with the history, you can see how far it went, because there is work that was going to be done. But recently there hasn't been a representative coming to the meeting, so I don't know where they're at. Yeah. So it's best to see if things are in the works and how long it'll take to do something about it. And that's my 3 cents for now.
Yeah, thanks, Laurie. So we'll check with the current representative, the DOT representative, to see where they're at, and hopefully they'll be able to address the board at the next meeting. So thanks for the comments. All right, any other comments, questions on this? All right,
Chair,
seeing none.
aloha, Chair. It's Amanda.
Oh yeah. Hi, Amanda. Go ahead.
Please let me know if you would like my help with that area. But
Okay.
I know you have his contact information, but I can also, put it as part of the governor's question too.
Okay,
So
appreciate that.
let me know if you need help with that. Thank you.
In fact, Amanda, I'll probably copy you on the email to the DOT
Wonderful.
representative as well, if you don't mind.
Thank you so much.
Perfect, thanks. All right, anything else on this? All right, if not, thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for coming out. Okay, any other community concerns this evening? Oh, hi, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Stephen Lung. And a few months ago, I submitted one of these concerning the condition of the road on Pahoa Avenue between 6th and 8th Avenue. Because it seems like the rest of the neighborhood was resurfaced. All the roads are resurfaced, and for the most part, I think the condition of the roads is great. But it seemed like for some reason that stretch got overlooked, that never got resurfaced. And I drive over that every single day. And it's just annoying. And I just wanted to see if somebody could look into whether this is an oversight or if there's some reason for it. It just didn't make any sense to me. So I had submitted one of these, but I never heard back from anybody. I assumed that it would be the city.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that. I'm sorry. Can you just mention the street name one more time?
Pahoa Avenue between 6th and 8th Avenue. Come off the freeway, you turn left, go up Pahoa, and it's really beat up.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, any other community concerns this evening? Yeah, go ahead.
Eric McCutcheon, no presentation on road rights today, just some sharing, but might as well keep the road and vehicles and that kind of going. So just some sharing I'd like to share as a VRU, right? A vulnerable road user. We're those people who tend to stay on the right side of the road, slow speeds, skateboards, monowheels, electric skateboards, bikes, electric bikes, scooters, mopeds, pedestrians, crosswalks, and on the right side of the road. So just want to give a shout out for the city. Speaking of 16th and Wailea, the Mauka Eva yellow light has been out for weeks. And I 311, and I'm sure some others have 311, and it's nice to say that light is yellow again. A little more safety going on right there. So this is going to be a little mix of good news and bad news and in between news. But I've been sharing again just the road fatalities, and again, this is not the highest tech way to do that, but hasn't been updated by the state since September 8th. For some reason, they're usually quicker. But again, we're standing at 93 fatalities statewide, 66 at this time last year, or at that time last year. And just want to throw another number out there. 71% of those fatalities were non-occupants of vehicles. So 71% of the fatalities of those 93 were vulnerable road users, not in a car. Something to think about. I hope, though, in our district, Kaimuki, I hope we are still Kaimuki Vision Zero. I think we are. Check with HPD and fire. But hopefully we're setting a good example, keeping it safe here for all of us using the road. Last thing, again, as a guy who spends a lot of time on the right side of our roads as a bicyclist, I'm looking down a lot, and I really appreciate clean streets. So I want to shout out to both state and city street sweepers. They catch a lot. They don't catch everything. Just yesterday, I collected this in just one spot in the bike lane. Just one stop, one day. And believe it or not, I rolled right by that in the bike lane last week. So shout out, thank you to our street sweepers. About twice a month, they're usually out there keeping things safe and clean. But just a reminder to all of us, for our right to be safe on our roads, let's all work on also keeping our streets clean and safe. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Eric. Okay, any other community concerns this evening? All right, seeing none. All right, so we will move on in the agenda. And we'll move on to board business. So the first item of board business is a discussion of the resolution in response to the letter dated Monday, April 25th, 2025 from the City and County of Honolulu, Department of Parks and Recreation requesting community input regarding which parks or park areas to allow leash dogs, adopted by the board on August 20th, 2025. So to kind of tee up this issue a little bit, as the board recalls, this matter was on the board's last meeting, in which the board did adopt a resolution as amended with respect to dogs in parks. And the reason why this is back on the agenda is because I did receive some communications from a resident with respect to Mount Alani Park. And as the board recalls, there was an amendment to the resolution which states that that Mount Alani Community Park be designated as a dog park between the hours of 5:00 p.m. to 7:00 p.m. There was an Exhibit A to the resolution, and which stated under recreation and team sports parks, Mount Alani Community Park was listed there, and it states recreation park, comma, no dogs, and a city under the jurisdiction of the city. My understanding is that that exhibit reflected the status of the city parks with respect to dogs or no parks that is current versus what is proposed. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear on the record, as well as to obtain any other input or comments with respect to the resolution. That's why it's on the agenda again. So any questions or comments first from the board on that? Audrey, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. I think you pretty much clarified it. That the Exhibit A is actually the current status, but the proposal was trying to propose that it would become a dog park between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m. So the exhibit was just to show what it is now, and the actual resolution was to propose that it become a dog park from 5 to 7 p.m. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Comments? Questions from the public? Amy?
Becky.
Oh, Becky. Okay. I'm sorry. Amy, hang on one second. Becky, go ahead.
Sorry, and last month I abstained from voting because I thought it'd be important that we engage in further discussion on like exploring what that amendment was just to designate the 2 hours at Mount Alani. But I'm curious if there could be any kind of way to do this at other parks and morning hours and whatnot. We didn't have a discussion about it, but I'm just going to raise it for the purposes of the minutes. But that's all. And until like I feel like there is a good, robust discussion of that, I'll just continue refraining.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure who had their hands up first, but I'll go to Amy and then Lori. I see your hand up too. So Amy, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. My name is Amy Brown and I live on Mount Alani Heights. So there's Wilson Park on the bottom and Mount Alani Community Park on the top. And so thank you for clarifying that, Chair Kang and Member Abe. Now I understand. And I think though that we also added Wilson Park, which is at the bottom, as dogs allowed on leash between 5 and 7. But if you don't want to include that, that's fine too. I thought we talked about it. It just didn't get into the body. And so it's on the video. But I appreciate what you've done for Mount Alani Park. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Let's see. Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'm wondering if Mount Omai Park is still mentioned in this resolution, because as in Vision Kaimuki, I adopted this park. So, and we're not too cool about having it as a dog park. And I don't think the residents living around the park would appreciate if it was a off-leash dog park. So what's the wording in that resolution? Does it regarding Maumai Nature Park? That's my concern.
You know, I'll defer to Audrey. Do you know offhand on Maumai Park if it was addressed of whether Maumai Park was addressed? No, I think Laurie's referring to Maumai, right?
Yes, Maumai Nature Park, 16th Avenue.
You recall offhand? if
We
that was
did not discuss. Mau Mau Park is not really, it is a park, but it's like a jungle. And it's got a very skinny trail and there's hardly anybody on it. And I don't think I've seen dogs on it.
Yeah, so Laurie, just for your information, so Exhibit A to the resolution did list Maumai Park. It did indicate that the current status is that it does allow dogs on leash.
Yes,
Is the current
yes.
status.
So
Right,
there's no change to that in this
right.
resolution.
The resolution did not propose any changes to that.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Yeah. That was my concern. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion on this topic?
We didn't bring up Mai Park because it's a pretty large park. But yeah, so they allow it on the leash. And as far as Wilson, we did not discuss that. But I know it's located to Wilson Elementary. My daughter went there. So I'm not sure the playground. I'm not sure. I haven't been there in a while. So I really didn't discuss it too much because the school is right there. I'm not sure how it's set up there. It's been a while since I've been there. So yeah.
Wilson Park is the one with the chickens in it. You know, you go up 16 and right before the slope starts, it's on the right. It's unfenced. It's got a lot of hookahs. It's actually kind of dangerous. So I don't think it would be, anything. It's very small. It's not fenced in.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, any other discussion on this topic, agenda item? All right, not seeing any. Okay, so we will move on. Our next item of business, board business, is a discussion consideration of establishing a committee or permitted interaction group to address monster homes. And I'll just preface this by saying that as the board knows, we do have committees, but there are also permitted interaction groups that are also permitted in which the board at one meeting needs to define the members and the scope of the permitted interaction group. And then that permitted interaction group can go ahead and interact. Essentially, it's an exception to some of the sunshine law requirements. And then it needs to report back to the board. And then at that point, the permitted interaction group is disbanded. And then, there is a report, and then the board can take action at a subsequent meeting. So just to give the board some options on a committee versus which a committee is subject to the sunshine law, and a permitted interaction group has some flexibility with respect to the requirements of the sunshine law. So that's why the reference to the permitted interaction group is there. But that being said, I will turn it over to John, who made this proposal.
I'll just use, can you hear me? Okay. Well, so there was a suggestion made just prior to the meeting that we should maybe expand it to be housing, not just monster homes, because there are other issues besides monster homes that evidently. I agree. So that would be one consideration. Now, but as far as monster homes, we all know what they are. And so I think we would need to look at, the focus has been on building code violations and tweaking the building code. Nobody's been talking about the zoning code. And it's the zoning code violations that are the root of this, of the problem and the lack of enforcement of it. So the other thing I wanted to do was also to liaise with Kapahulu and Palolo boards, because between the three, this is where the heart of the problem in East Honolulu. So that's what we would be trying to tackle. Any questions?
Okay, so maybe John, if you could maybe propose a motion and then we can see if we have a second and then we can discuss it further.
I move that we have a discussion about the creation of the board, I mean, of a PIG or a committee.
Oh, you can go into discussion. You don't need a motion to go into discussion. Unless you want to move to create a committee or permitted interaction group. You want to make that motion? Okay, the board can discuss.
Okay, well, any other discussion on the creation of a permanent interaction group or committee on the housing issues that John? Yeah, go ahead.
What are the benefits of a permitted interaction group versus a committee?
Yeah, so the benefits of a permitted interaction group is that permitted interaction group, as long as you have, less than quorum, number of members, they can interact outside of the sunshine law. In other words, they don't need to issue an agenda when they meet. They don't need to have a public, meeting, etc. The issue about a permitted interaction group, however, is that the members are determined, they are given the scope of what to discuss or investigate, and then they need to report back to the board. And after the report is done, I mean, it could be months, right? They just need to report back to the board at some point. After the report is done, the permanent interaction group is dissolved. And then the board needs to consider that, and then it can take action at a subsequent meeting after that. A committee can continue, can provide updates to the board, can consider things, but it does need to follow the sunshine law. And when the committee meets, it does need to issue an agenda, does need to provide notice, and it does have to have public meetings.
Thank you.
Did I get that right, Chris? Okay, thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments on this? Yeah, Christine, go ahead.
For Kelsey, I know there was some kind of committee to address monster homes in the past, a pig. I don't know what came of it or if she wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, good question. Let's see. Kelsey, are you on?
Yes, I was just about to fill in because yes, we did have a pig on Monster Homes about 2 years ago. And I don't think we had a defined scope of work, so or a defined project. We just regularly reported back to the board. And what we ended up doing was keeping a track of endangered properties or properties that were suspected to be monster homes, and investigating whether they were in fact monster homes. And that's what we did pretty much in that pig. Just taking down addresses and contacting DPP as to the status of those properties. Yeah, so we did have hybrid meetings, so in person and virtual. So my question was, and having the hybrid meetings was cumbersome, I think, for a small pig. Would there also be in-person requirements for pig meetings?
No, there's no in-person
Okay.
requirement for a pig meeting. That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Regarding a PIG, am I right? It takes a couple months to formulate sort of a consensus and opinion on a project at hand, like a home being built?
No, so the PIG, the board needs to give direction to the PIG. So the board needs to give direction on what the scope of the PIG is. The committee can take as long as it needs to come up with its findings and recommendations to report back to the board. And once it does so, though, it dissolves because that is the purpose. of the
Right, right.
PIG.
So I don't know if I, understand this fully, but if there's a project going on, like there's the home on Sierra Drive, by the time that becomes a known issue, it's too late. That house is built. I mean, maybe down the road legally it's torn down. I don't know. So that's why I was more or less. I think I read there, a couple, a period of time, et cetera. But by the time that happens, it's difficult, probably, I'm assuming, to do much about it unless they're legally beyond their permit. But if they actually have a permit to build it and that's been okayed, then what can we do? That I don't know these details, but that's my question. Like,
So this would be, actually, like I've tried to allude to, it's a little more detail in this, but it's the occupancy of these, it's the question. They're being built in accordance with the building code as a single family house. Okay, but they're not actually single family houses. It's the occupancy that's the issue. So it's not going to be aimed at any specific, it would be aimed at any specific projects. It would be a blanket. How do you fix the loophole that lets these people do this? And that's the problem, because there's no enforcement right now of the zoning. They're trying to tweak the building code, but they're not doing anything about the zoning part. R5, most of Kaimuki is R5, single family homes. But that's what's on in the LUO. That's not what's. Okay, so anyway, that's what that's about. But it's not specific. Hopefully we keep all you guys up into one. Also, I think the PIG would be probably the better venue for this rather than a committee. But that's just.
Okay, any other questions, comments on this? All right. So given John's recommendation, is there a motion to create a permitted interaction group with the scope noted in John's write-up here, as well as, I believe there was a suggestion to expand it on other housing issues? Christine, do you mind maybe indicating what this may be?
I think there's a lot of different housing issues that are connected to the Monster House issue, so it probably would be wiser to expand it to housing issues because there's other things that have come up at the state legislature and at the city level as far as housing uses, zoning, and all of those other applications that the board might want to learn more about.
Okay. Sorry. Perhaps we could define the scope just a little bit more in terms of what those issues might be for purposes of the permitted interaction group. If you know offhand, not to put you on the spot, but
As far as what John is trying to propose, I think maybe density and safety. I don't know
okay.
if that is what you're thinking.
There was that thing that the ledge did to say that they could make 2,500 square foot lots. So they could take regular lots and build up to three homes on that, and it really increased the density. That was passed by the legislature. So that's, I think, the kind of thing that she was alluding to.
Okay, so if I could suggest this, that the permitted interaction group cover the topics covered in John's memo here, as well as housing issues relating to zoning and density raised on the state level as well. Does that sound about correct? All right. So I'll entertain a motion along those lines. Is there a motion to create a permitted interaction group along those lines for the board?
Yeah, I move that we create a BIG to incorporate the points brought up in this memo and the additional concerns raised by Christine.
Is there a second? Okay. Do we have who seconded? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna make a decision. Christine seconds. Okay, all right. Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? Sean, go ahead.
Sorry, just for random questions as I'm new to the board. There've got to be other communities that we can take follow. Yeah, like awesome. I'm thinking like Manoa, for example.
Well, I was thinking more of Kapahulu, St. Louis, and Pololo. That's very much the heart of where the problem is. Yeah, so we would need to liaise with those other boards.
Well, what I'm saying is specifically, like I think of Manoa because you don't really see a lot of monster homes in Manoa.
Right.
So they have a means to already keep that at bay. That would be my assumption.
Find out. I don't know how they're doing it, but yeah, you're right.
Up to 5 people. All right. So maybe we should wrap that up in the motion as well. So the members of the PIG. So John, obviously, Christine, would you mind serving on this? Okay. Any other members interested in serving? Sean, okay. That's 3. 2 more
Kelsey.
available. Okay, Kelsey. That's 4. 1 more available. Okay, great. Audrey. Okay, we have our 5. Thank you very much. Thanks for serving on this. All right. So it's been moved and seconded. Members have been decided and appointed. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes. Thanks very much. Okay, thank you, John. And everyone. So we will move on to our next item of business, which is approval of written summary of video record for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Hopefully folks have been able to take a look at it on the Google Drive. Is there a motion to approve the written summary of video record for August 20th, 2025? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, right after this. Sorry, thanks. So sorry. Okay, is there a motion to approve the video record? Okay, thank you. Second. Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say no. Any abstentions? All right, that motion passes. And now, Representative, thank you for joining us this evening.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
I should have checked the agenda.
Thank you.
2 quick updates. This past month, August, I attended several conferences in Boston. The National Caucus of Environmental Legislators, relevant to this district, I went to sessions on coastal management and sustainable housing policies, learned a lot about Boston's efforts to decarbonize their housing stock and also protect communities from displacement. I went to the National Asian and Pacific American Caucus of Legislators, where we passed a resolution affirming our support for birthright citizenship, and the National Conference of State Legislators. That one's a really big, huge bipartisan conference, and my purpose there was really to learn about the federal impacts or the impacts of the federal budget on our state. Main takeaway is that we really need to prepare administratively and invest in outreach to make sure our constituents are aware of all of the ways they can get disenrolled from programs like Medicaid and SNAP. And then the big update is that I will be hosting a Legislators Listen session on October 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Liho Liho Elementary School. That's in partnership with House leadership. So Speaker Nadine Nakamura, Majority Leader Sean Quinlan, and Judiciary Chair David Tarnas are all going to be coming to hear directly from you about your concerns. I also held a town hall in partnership with Tommy Waters' office in July. We had a great attendance, about 100 people, I would say, showed up. A lot of concerns about traffic and road safety, but they were mostly city issues because we had DTS and HPD there. So this session will be focused on state matters and state policy. Thinking back to the candidate forum that KBPA hosted last year, those kinds of questions, like macro level questions about housing policy, good governance, and campaign finance reform. What else? You know, those questions about our social safety net programs and the outlook for those in the coming years. Like those kinds of big questions are what we want to take to that session. But I'm really hoping that the board shows up because you guys are so informed, and I want to show leadership that our community is very engaged and we've got our eyes on them and are ready to help. So again, that's October 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. At Liho Liho Elementary School. And we will be sending out like a reminder, and I'll be knocking on doors with flyers, but just really want to get our neighborhood board members out there because you folks have so much, like, you know, on the ground granular community knowledge that will be really helpful to add to that big picture discussion. Thank you. Oh, and I'm here for questions too.
All right. Thank you very much, Representative. Any questions for Representative Grandinetti? From the board or online? Okay, so Becky, go ahead.
Hi, Rep. Grandinetti. I just wanted, you mentioned the forum back before the last election, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to say that I'm glad you spoke up at the end of that forum, because there was a comment by a candidate who said, I'm the only candidate who doesn't take funds from corporations or whatnot. And that didn't include you because you took it from, you know, nonprofit organizations and acts like the Hawaii State Teachers Association. And so I thought it was an unfair characterization. I'm glad you stuck up for yourself. I thought it was unfair that you were first to go and then everyone else followed, and kind of didn't give you a chance to clear the record. But I also thought it was inappropriate that this candidate said, I'm the only one who's married. And I just
got married.
It really bothered me. So, sorry, married with kids, was that what it was?
I just got married
Yeah.
last month, so I'll add that to my resume.
Oh,
But
okay,
thank
well,
you very
good.
much.
Now you're more qualified.
I appreciate that. And I'm signed on to the Our Hawaii Pledge. So I'm pledged not to take campaign contributions from special interests, real estate, and hotel lobbies. And so I'm really proud of my campaign finance record. And I think like 85% of my donations were $100 or less. So thank you for letting me kind of speak to that.
Yeah, I just thought it would be important for everyone else in the audience to, you know, have that air cleared too, because it wasn't fair, and I'm glad you won. So that's all. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right. Any other questions for Representative Grandinetti? All right. Seeing none. Thank you very much for coming out and waiting for us. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So next item is reports of board members attending other neighborhood board and public meetings. Have any of the members attended other meetings since our last meeting? Okay. Not seeing anyone. We'll move on. Board announcements. The next meeting of this board is scheduled for Wednesday, October 15, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. right here at the Kaimuki Public Library Meeting Room and online via WebEx. To request an agenda item, please contact me at least 2 weeks before the scheduled meeting. My email address is available on the neighborhood board website. Meetings can also be viewed on Channel 49 on Olelo at 9:00 p.m. on the second Sunday of the month. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks very much, everybody.